Welcome to Monroe Musings, where we discuss personalized performance for high achievers who refuse to self abandon. I'm Dr. Krystal Kohlberg, and I hold a doctorate in sport and performance psychology. And for over 15 years, I've studied how high performers think, work, relate, and lead. I integrate that science with human design to help you understand how you're uniquely built to perform to help you succeed without burning out or sacrificing your relationships. In today's episode, we're going to talk about energy management. It is one of the first things we learn in performance psychology, and it's so deeply connected, in my opinion, to human design. Energy management, a lot of people think rest versus hustle or, recovery time versus performance time, and there's just so much more to it than that. So we're going to talk from the sports science perspective, then we're going to go into some human design and practical tools to help you integrate this into your life in the most personalized way, as always. Sport and performance psychology and mental skills training, when we talk about energy management or arousal management, typically we end up talking about the inverted U theory is that when you have too little arousal, or too little energy, you are flat, you're not quite there, then you're tired, you are sluggish, and your performance isn't great. And then as your energy goes up, your performance goes up until a certain point. And then when you get too much energy or too much arousal, you go back down on the performance side because you're too anxious, you're too amped, you're overly excited, and you can't focus. And so the goal is to find that middle ground of like your sweet spot where you have peak performance. The thing is with this, which is why it's so nicely ties into the personalization and human design, is that everyone's optimal zone is different. And not only is it different for each person, but it could be different for each task, each sport, each activity. It could be different depending on the day. It could be different depending on if you're a woman, where you're at in your cycle. All of these things help you to personalize and understand that everyone has a unique zone depending on what they're doing. For example, I played softball and water polo. And in softball, I wanted to be like quiet in the corner, observing. I was a pitcher. So when I was pitching, I was trying to completely keep my cool. I was in the zone. In water polo, I could have quite a bit more of amped up, and that was just my difference between those two sports. Now, there's other areas of my life where sometimes I need to be up more, sometimes I need to be down, and it just again it depends. So it's this what I would always return back to is self-awareness, know what you need, and then intentional action. How do you get there? Because so often what we need to do is regulate, whether that is bringing ourselves down if we're too up, we're too anxious, we're too scattered, or bring ourselves up if we're not feeling the energy to bring our best performance. And another really good example of this is when I see this, the example I think of is like a football team huddle and trying to like make everyone jump and scream and be kind of obnoxious, which probably works great for a lot of them. But some people who were forced to participate in that, it didn't help their performance. They actually probably had to go try to regulate down from that in order to do their best. I would have been one of those people in softball. Softball players are encouraged to, cheer, scream, kick at the fence, and do all this, to me, obnoxious stuff. And that pulled me out of my game. But often I would get in trouble for not participating, not being at the fence, not cheering on my teammates, not like doing all these things that everyone should be doing. The thing is, participating in that was ruining my game. And so this is again part of why this is so important to me is because I've realized from a young age that we all had different needs for to set ourselves up for success because I was very into the game. I was very much paying attention. I just wasn't doing it in the way everyone else was. And so I really want to encourage people to figure out what works for you and be able to integrate that. What's great about this is so the science is saying it's personalized, right? Your optimal zone of energy for your optimal performance is unique to you. It's personalized. It is something you have to find for yourself. And so human design comes along and also tells us that everything is personalized. Everyone is unique. We have different ways of performing, of using our energy. And when we honor that, we can optimize. And when we honor the way we were meant to use our energy, we can optimize our performance. In human design, we have 5 energy types, and your energy type does tell you how you're meant to use your energy, which is perfectly aligned with this. Manifesting generators and generators are very similar. Generators are going to be the consistent doers. They have this renewable sacral energy, which is like when they are lit up by what they are doing, they can just go, 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 go. And it's almost like this energy pours over and out to everyone else from them when they're lit up by what they're doing. Now, manifesting generators have this same type of energy. They can keep going if they're lit up by what they're doing, but they often work fast in nonlinear ways and skip steps and pivot often. Both generators and manifesting generators have this energy that they could spill over to everyone else and they can go, go, go when they're lit up by what they're doing. But generators tend to be a little more consistent, where manifesting generators tend to maybe skip around a little bit or pivot often. Now, the other 3 types do not have this access to this consistent energy. That doesn't mean they can't be an athlete or they can't do things. It just means they show up differently and their energy works differently, and it's something they need to learn how to work with. Manifestors are initiators. They are here to bring new ways of doing things. They are here to start things, to initiate things. They're not here to sustain the energy. They're here to kick things off. They are like the kindling. They start the fire. Oftentimes, they work in creative bursts. That could be a day, that could be a week, that could be many weeks. It's unique to that person, but often there will be this big burst of energy for a set period of time, and then they need to retreat. Projectors are another non-sacral or non-energy being, which means they don't have that consistent go, go, go energy. They are meant to guide and direct others. They are meant to be coaches, and they observe, see how we can improve things. They are like the systems experts. And so it's important for them to have rest and alone time, have downtime. And so, again, when you need to think about energy management, you need to know about this downtime need for yourself and plan accordingly. And reflectors are the unicorns. They are about 1% of the population. They show up differently all the time. They could show up like any of the other types on any given day, but typically they're going to be closer to a projector in that their energy is going to ebb and flow, and they need some downtime. They do need some time away from others to not be around other people's energy. And again, they're going to need to understand their own energy patterns in order to integrate that into whatever it is that they are doing, whatever that performance is. Again, whether that is your sport, your hobby, your job, your family. When I say performance, I just mean the things that you do. So every type has this signature way that their energy works. It's so important for you to work with it instead of against it. Understand your energy needs. Understand your recovery needs. Understand maybe if you're a generator or a manifesting generator and the performance we're talking about lights you up, you probably don't need as much downtime. It probably helps you to sleep better if the performance is satisfying to you. That means you use your energy up in satisfying ways throughout the day and you can go to bed delightfully spent that night. For projectors and reflectors, it is important that you are planning in downtime, that you don't try to make yourself keep up with everyone else. Same with manifestors, honoring rest cycles and work cycles, not trying to make yourself keep up with the generators and manifesting generators, who are roughly 70% of the population. So that 30% of us, manifestors, projectors, and reflectors, need to understand that we work different. And then for those manifesting generators and generators, if the thing that you need to optimize performance for is something that doesn't light you up, but something to remember that that is going to be draining for you, So plan in activities around that. Make sure you have time to add in the things that bring you joy, that bring you the satisfaction, so that you can fill your own tank back up. So to recap for this episode, make sure you are aware of your own personal energy needs. Where do you need to fall on the spectrum to do your best during your performance? How do you need to how do you honor your energy cycles? How do you recover? Do you allow yourself to do it in the way that you are meant to do it? Can you optimize that for yourself? Or are you trying to run on somebody else's program? If you're running on other people's programs or other people's shoulds or trying to keep up with everyone else, you're likely to burn out. Thank you for spending this time with me. I am so happy to have you here. If this episode resonated, I'd really appreciate if you take a moment to subscribe or leave a review on Apple or Spotify or share it with someone who needs it. It really helps get the show out there to more people. Those small actions genuinely help the show reach the people who are ready for a different way to perform, who are ready for this personalized aspect of performance and are done following cookie cutter advice. This podcast exists to prove that ambition and alignment can coexist and that success doesn't have to cost you yourself. I'll see you next week.